Both of us are nervous when you go out there. Everybody's nervous. If somebody says they're never nervous, they're lying. Everybody's nervous. So, I mean, going out there and controlling your nerves and showing your opponent that you are in control of those nerves and emotions, I think that's a big win for you before the fight starts.
You're listening to the MatchKitCast with me, Ben Karpinski, bringing you closer to the athletes on the MatchKit.co platform. There is probably no more all-consuming sport than that of mixed martial arts, and there's no probable, I would say all-round athlete that I've encountered in recent years than Dricus Du Plessis. Dricus, how's it going today?
I'm good, man. Thanks.
I am talking to you at your own gym here in Pretoria, the CIT. Something I find so interesting about your sport is that it is so much more nuanced than most people think it is. But people think that you're a fighter, you get in, you fight against someone who's relatively the same weight as yours, and you go at it. But there's not. I mean, there's so many different disciplines within mixed martial arts, hence the name mixed martial arts. Now, you started off as a kickboxer. You then went to become a world champion in that. I'm referencing your MatchKit's achievement section here while going through this, so I don't leave anything out. In 2012, you were the SAK1 kickboxing champion. 2012, again, you were the junior world champion of the Waco K1. And then it got really serious when you were in the senior ranks, so to speak, professional ranks. You were the youngest EFC title holder. You got the welterweight championship there, on the belt there in 2016. 2017, you went on to get the middleweight championship belt. And in 2018, you took your talents to Europe in the KSW, where you had the welterweight belt there in 2018. Now, that is an incredible sort of pedigree for someone his entire career. You're only now 26, so you've still got so much to go. But where did it all kind of start, and what made you want to get into sport like this?
We've always been a competitive family, played rugby, just like a normal South African kid does. I mean, I played rugby, I did team sports, we did judo. My parents always had us, we could do whatever we want, and my brothers chose to. And I mean, I was 5 years old, so I didn't really have a say. I just went with, and I started training judo, and I ended up being pretty good at it. My brothers was a lot better than me, because they were a bit older and they could compete, and they both had SA colors multiple times in judo. And then we moved after 5-6 years of doing judo, and we moved to another province, and I started taking up wrestling, didn't really get into it. And at 14, just like any kid, watching movies, seeing fighting, hearing about the UFC, just seeing short clips of it whenever you get a chance. And I just loved the thought of it. I just loved fighting. I just loved the whole idea of fighting. I just loved it. And I signed off my first kickboxing fight. I didn't even have a coach. I just saw some videos, and I decided to do it, and I loved every second of it. I had a lot of kickboxing fights. I fought until kickboxing, MMA being my end destination, definitely, but kickboxing what was around. That was MMA there was no way to fight amateur MMA back then. And I just loved every day of it. And as soon as I became a K1 world champion, I knew that I had to have something special, because I was the first South African to ever have a world title in K1 kickboxing. And MMA was always there. I have the judo background, wrestling background, and now the stand-up as well. And I started training at CIT in Pretoria. I started coming through, and then I came to study at Tix. And the rest was history. I made my professional debut after 6 months after high school. I was 19 years old, and I've never looked back a day in my life. And this is my passion. This is what I love, and there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. And I guess that's something I can blame my success solely on. That is the fact that I love the sport so much.
Now, when you do reference team sports, you kind of have a very sort of natural progression of how you get to the top ranks and what's entailed. But now, you as an individual athlete, how much of a sacrifice is it to get into these fights, as far as how do you balance your training as far as physically to get into the position you need to be, to say the sparring and all the other kind of skills you need to have? Just run us through what that entails and what kind of team you have around you to get you in the best possible shape to get into the hexagon.
Yeah, a lot of people think this is not a team sport, because it isn't. It isn't team sport. Once that cage door locks, it's only you. It's all about you. But leading up to that, without your team, there's no way you're going to be successful. It's impossible. Without my coaching staff, like I have a mental coach, I have a strength and conditioning coach, I have a wrestling coach, I have a stand-up coach. Without those guys, like I wouldn't be able to go forward. Without the people, without my sparring partners, my training partners, there wouldn't be any bodies to prepare against. And if they're not pushing you in the gym, you can't be used to getting pushed in a fight. And that's so important. The way you train is the way you're going to fight. That's how I believe. So I believe I train hard and I fight easy. And so does all my teammates. I have a few great teammates around me and coaches. And yeah, like I said, I do fight alone, but the preparation, everything I know is definitely not something I picked up by myself. Without them, there's just no way you can make it. So it's definitely, the coaches are there to push you, but the coaches are there to teach you, and the coaches are there to make sure you are not harming yourself, because a lot of problems that you have as a fighter is overtraining and getting too much training in and not recovering enough, and your coaches are there to save you from yourself as well. And you always feel like you're throwing the best punches you can. You always feel like you're throwing them perfectly. But from an outside point of view, that's something you see with fighters. As soon as they start coaching themselves, it's a matter of time before their careers go downwards. It's a downward spiral, because you need somebody to tell you that you're not doing it right, or that you are doing it right, because bad habits are forming and you don't even know it. And that's where coaching comes in, and that's what makes this so amazing. Is I might get all the glory of when I win the title or all that, but without my team, there's just no way it would have been possible.
Now, obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic has put a hold on many, many sporting careers, or across the board, really. And as far as you're concerned, I mean, amazing momentum, having been the welterweight champion, the middleweight champion. You've conquered everything on the African continent. You've gone over to Europe as well. And I know your big goal is to go to America, the UFC as well. All that's been put on hold, unfortunately, for the time being because of COVID. But one thing that it seems that you're hell-bent on doing is becoming a 3-weight champion here in the EFC as your first goal. You'll be gunning for the light heavyweight title next, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's everything has been put on hold with the whole COVID thing, but I mean, I'm not too stressed about it. I'm not in a rush to be in the UFC tomorrow. I'm not in a rush to do anything. I think things will work out the way it should. And for me in my career, I'm extremely happy where I'm at right now. I've had obviously I would have liked to be a bit more active this year. I'm fit, I'm healthy, and whenever you're fit and healthy and ready to fight, you need to take advantage, because you never know when a massive injury just comes up and then you're out for a year maybe. So I mean, that's not great, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm just getting better every single day, because we keep on preparing, we keep on staying ready for fights, because you never know what happens in this uncertain times. So I mean, fighting locally is definitely going to be the best and safest option right now, because we never know. We don't know how long it's going to be before I can fly over, and how's the rules. It's just too much admin to know right now to go fight anywhere else in the world than at home. So the next fight, I'm planning on fighting in the UFC, and most definitely for the light heavyweight belt, to become the first. I don't know of any other fighter, to be honest, that became a champion in 3 different weight divisions, and to make history and really test myself. A lot of people think this is a far stretch for me, coming from 77 and ending up at 93 kgs. But I'm a big middleweight. I'm not a welterweight fighting middleweight anymore. I'm definitely no welterweight anymore. I'm never seeing that weight again. But to fight at light heavyweight will be natural for me, and I'm still going to have to do a cut. I'm still going to have to cut weight. And I promise you, when I get in there, we will be ready physically, mentally. And if my opponent thinks he's fighting at a middleweight at light heavyweight, he's making a mistake, because I will most probably be the bigger guy in the cage. And becoming a 3-division champion and making history that's what it's all about for me, is writing history books and, just going down as, building a legacy.
Well, that is something I have no doubt in at all. Seeing you from being the welterweight champion, as you say, 77 kilograms. And if you don't know Dricus, you're 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, I'm 6'2".
Okay.
So I'm actually 6'1". Now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I'm just 6'1". Oh, man, I should have gone to 60.
You should have gone 6'2", 6'3". But he is an imposing figure, and the fact that he can fluctuate on the 20-kilogram spectrum, essentially, to follow these dreams, it helps being young, of course. I don't think you can really cut weight after, say, 35, like my age.
Yeah, no. Well, I don't want to be cutting that much weight ever again in my life. So, I mean, I've done it. I think it's taught me a whole lot, because even for middleweight, I have to do quite a big cut, close to 10 kilograms. And fighting at middleweight, it's still not an easy cut, but no cut will ever be as grueling as that 77 kg cut down to there. So whatever I'm facing right now mentally, and even no fight has even challenged me mentally as much as my weight cut as 277 has challenged me. Never ever have I been in a more challenging position than dieting firstly down, and the day of the actual weight cut, cutting 5-6 k's on the day before getting on the scale. That was terrible. It really pushed my mental capabilities, and it really showed me even more that I'm not made of glass. Whatever, your body can take a whole lot more than you think. And I mean, if you're willing to push through mentally, you can do anything you want. And that taught me a lot of that. And that means any cut I'm doing from here on out that's in a higher division is never going to be as tough as a cut to welterweight.
So finally, the gate is closed. There's your opponent. You're in the hexagon. What is that thing that you're thinking about? Because you have a very steely look of determination before you fight. Is there anything going through your head at that moment? Or is it very much now you're back on instinct and you're about to fight?
I think there's quite a few different ways of feelings that I'm feeling. Like literally before, when I'm still warming up, I'm having a few thoughts, and then just before I walk out, I have different thoughts. And once I do walk out, I have certain thoughts. And once the cage door is closed, and like you said, that the moment of fight's going to happen right now, that's when I think my thoughts are a bit more clear. I would even say stuff to my opponent just before the fight starts, and I would have antics and whatever, but I'm not really thinking about anything then. I'm there, all the thinking has been done. I'm trying to go, the more you think in a fight, especially, you're never going to get that flow. The flow state is what they call it. You won't get that flow state if you're thinking about stuff. The thinking is done, the training is done. It's all muscle memory and instinct right now. You know what you have to do, and to think about what you might do. You don't know what's going to happen. You have to see what this guy's up. How hard is he hit? What does he do? I mean, you're there now. There's nothing to think about anymore. It's just when I do go out there, what I do try to do is to show my opponent always that if he thought that this will be an easy fight, or if he even thought that I won't give him an inch. If he beats me, it's one of those things. I won't give him an inch before the fight. I'll get beaten. I won't get beaten before a fight. I'll never show any fear before a fight. I'll never show him I won't even show any doubt in myself or my abilities before a fight, because if you do that, then you already lost the fight before you actually lost the fight. And I think that's a big thing for me when I go out there, is to make sure my opponent, if anything, to win that little mental battle with my opponent, because both of us are nervous when you go out there. Everybody's nervous. If somebody says they're never nervous, they're lying. Everybody's nervous. So, I mean, going out there and controlling your nerves and showing your opponent that you are in control of those nerves and emotions, I think that's a big win for you before the fight starts.
Okay, now I know. So before we go, and I see that look in your face, that's exactly what's going through your head.
That's exactly what's going through my head.
Dricus Du Plessis is one of the athletes on the MatchKit.co platform. To find out more about him and see his profile, matchkit.co/Dricus Du Plessis. Correct?
That is it.
Straight up. All right, man. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Are you an athlete looking to better commercialize your career? Visit matchkit.co/register and see what this unique web builder can do for your sporting profile.